All right, if you made it this far, you're at level 3. Dun dun dun. All right, this is tricky though, actually, but I think you can have some fun with it. Let's read the instructions first. All right, level 3. Draw a large square with a perimeter of 6,400 millimeters. Then draw a shape using a different pen color inside the square that has a larger perimeter than the outside square. All right. Well, the coolest thing is in tutorial level 1 that I showed you, because they gave us this model and I usually go with the model, this is the square that you're doing. Ah! So you already got it done. So step 1 is reload the code that you did for level 1. So you're not redoing it all. And that should get you started with, or borrow the code that you have that I've got on level 1, or just do it yourself. Sorry. So many options. So got it done. Get our square, and if it's blue, leave it blue. Not a big deal. But the perimeter is 6,400 millimeters. So if I were to draw a shape on the inside, that's a square like on the inside frame, it is inherently going to be a smaller perimeter, a smaller area. It is just all around smaller, less distance around, less area inside, right? So then I was like, oh, I can do a triangle. Let me try a triangle. Well, then I didn't know how to calculate the distance of, those lines and if it would work because I would only have 3 lines and it's still stuck between the middle. And I didn't know if it was gonna work. And then I remembered something from third grade math, where we were doing, and Joelle was doing it at daycare the other day, actually. And what she was doing is she was laying these squares down like this, right? So if you ever did nets with Miss Tillman, or if you ever wanted to become like a packaging engineer, this is kind of your thing. Like you can see these layouts in 2 dimensions and how you can reduce waste is part of it. So it could be like a really popular job right now too. And so we have all of these squares, and it's a large perimeter because it's kind of like irregularly aligned. It's the squares are kind of stretched away from each other, right? But what this is showing me is if I did it in a different orientation, it would take up less space, okay, and it would take up less perimeter. And in the real world, that would be a lot of waste that you are preventing from happening. So I got this idea to do something that's out of the box. I mean, still have to make a shape, right? But just something different that's not a perfect shape. I kind of threw it out the wayside. I wasn't going to worry about curved lines. I wasn't going to worry about normal shapes like a rhombus or a parallelogram, or I just wasn't going to do it. I was just like, I'm just going to make something weird. And it's all about those overall distances. So I was thinking of trying to make it kind of like go back and forth as many times as I could to create a whole shape. Remember, it has to have an outer perimeter that connects to the beginning point that you start with. Okay. And I was going to go with like a letter, like I was going to do M. I don't know, just because it was inside of a square. But then I realized I didn't need to do that much. So I tested it with just like an N, and it worked. So I would encourage you to maybe think about doing a letter or something irregular like this, even, and see if you can make it work. But I really want you to use some creativity on this because it would be pretty boring if everyone had the same thing from Miskalski's tutorial. But I will tell you, it took me 2 tries. So I tried a couple different things using the repeat, and I was so close. I got like, I don't know, within 200 millimeters, and I had to throw out the code and start over. So give yourself some grace. This is why I give you 5 days, and just try some stuff out. But again, for those of you that need some starter, here you go. Remember, you're reloading everything you did for the first level. I love it when we get to this. So save yourself a bunch of headache and get your square so that this repeat 4 lets me know this is the square. I'm putting my pen up because I know I have to do a different color for the inside polygon, or yeah, they call it an object, but polygon. And oh yeah, so this is basically me making like this N shape. And at the bottom is where I prove that it is greater than the 6,400 that we are starting with. Yep. So the square is 6,400 and perimeter, and the distance of the one I came up with is 6,800. So not by much, but enough to pass the test, right? To meet the requirements of the assignment. So just like before, I want you to make sure that you're using those comment blocks to show me your thinking, to show me the results that you got. I don't mind if you need to use a calculator to just add them up on the side. You don't need to you know, write it out and take a picture and send it to me. Just have your values because I'm going to see them anyway, right? You have to insert those values to make your robot move those distances. So um, excuse me. Okay. So by adding these links here on the inside of this smaller square, I was able to get past the original perimeter of this black one. So if you are a visual person like me, you can imagine if these two were two different types, if these two were different lengths of string, if I were to stretch them out, like this blue one, for example, if I were to stretch it out to be as big as it could be to make a square, it now would go beyond that black square, not by much on each side, but enough to be larger in perimeter than the current black square. So um, go record your Flipgrid, try it out, have fun, be unique, and I look forward to seeing your Flipgrids. Good luck. Happy coding.